Scotty, so I heard that you've got a new coach for peak week. I saw in a story, I saw your daughter, she was calculating your potatoes for peak week for peak week.
Yep,
And she was asked, how many potatoes does daddy get? And she's like, just one's enough.
that's it, man. He doesn't need anymore.
She's so cute, man. So I was at work. Jenny sent me that video. Jen went upstairs to just get changed. And Evie, she's just been so inquisitive lately when I'm cutting my potatoes. She's like, Daddy, why are you eating the potatoes? I'm like, oh, because I really like potatoes. And so she came down and she was cutting up potatoes for her dad. What a
Like a
legend.
star. And her voice, man. I could just listen to her talk all day long. It's so
She's,
sweet.
she's
So
so
cute.
cute.
Yeah.
Every day when I leave now, she's like, "Are you going to the bodybuilding?" And I'm like, I'm going to work." But
Yeah.
this weekend, I'm trying to explain to her that I'm competing. That's why I'm so excited for my my pro shows because the kids are actually going to come.
Yes.
So they'll be there in a little powerhouse tracksuit. So
Yeah.
hopefully can get some cool shots with them.
That'll be absolutely mate. So they're just going to be at which shows? At NBA and
I'll be
ICM?
at NBA and they're going to come to the ICM one too, albeit it'll be a bit late. So I don't know how that will go. But because we're flying out the next day, it was too hard to try and get someone to look after him because I don't think my parents are around, and Jen's family are obviously in the UK. So they're just going to come. And equally, I'm like, we'll start to acclimate them to a different time zone. So they'll stay up super late. They'll be buzzing off the walls because you boys will be there. All my staff will be there. Lots of our friends will be there. So they'll just be running a riot.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if my daughter tries to like storm the stage. She's
No
just
way.
a diva.
Let her up.
It'll be
Let
the
her up.
best.
Yeah.
Your son's going to be spewing that you're getting on a plane to go to Queensland this weekend.
He is. He actually remembered. He's like, Daddy, you didn't bring me back an aeroplane. And I was like, oh, so because he wanted a Cathay Pacific one, but
Yeah.
they don't sell them at the airport. So when we go to when in the stopover in Hong Kong, I have to just buy one. Lord knows what it's going to cost me, but he wants one, so I got to get him one.
Better happen, man.
Yeah, and he knows the types of them. When I took every time we're walking to the gate, you guys probably like, what's Scotty doing? I'm just taking pictures of planes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find different ones, and he is obsessed with the Jetstar logo, even though I hate Jetstar. So last time he's like, take some photos of the Jetstar. I'm like, all right.
He loves it. Yeah, that's so
He
cute.
loves it. Yeah, man, it's cute.
So obviously we had a massive weekend. We went to Adelaide and then we had the Vic show. But what I want to do is not that we're not going to bore everyone with our events and what we did, but because we try to, educate people and give back a little bit. So I want to talk about first is we had a couple of clients competing over the weekend. So let's talk about maybe some lessons learned that we learned with our clients, things we might do differently next time when we peak them, and we can kind of just educate people on some of the things that we discovered during that time. And then let's go into the two shows that we were at, and we'll give some feedback. We're going to show some photos on the screen of the Vic show and just going through the overall lineup for each division and just kind of give our comments and feedback on some of those competitors. And if any of you boys know anyone that reached out that wants specific feedback, we can give that too. So, Scotty, if you want to start,
Hmm.
how many competitors did you have this week? And also, is there any lessons learned, things that you'll do differently, things that went well?
So I had three competitors. I had Everin, Ethan, and Aman. Big shout out to Aman. We've actually just wrapped up her season. She competed for the first time. She'd had a couple of attempts, but hadn't had the best experiences with some previous coaches. And we spent a body of work just getting her to a place. And by her own admission, she was overweight when we first started working together. And she's made a huge transformation. We're talking like, I think it's close to 20 odd kilos.
Wow.
Amazing experience for her. But equally, she's ticked that box and now is just determined to come back and present a physique that has her, being competitive in some of those open lineups, seeing people like Everin and some of the other girls. She loved the experience, but equally just knows that we've got work to do. So we've retreated to some higher energy availability, she's a mom, she works, all that sort of stuff. So we're getting her back to a really good, healthy place, pushing in some food and going to make some gains. And then we'll look to come back. So just a special shout out to her, because for some people, it's about chasing pro cards and wins, and others, it's the journey to get there. And everyone has their own journey. And it was really amazing to be able to see. I was spewing I didn't get to spend as much time with each of my athletes because we were also running a show. So you're wearing many hats. But yeah, special mention for her. And then I had Everin and I had Ethan, and Ethan actually competed on the Saturday and the Sunday. So he's probably a good one to use as a case example, because the approach that we took going into the weekend was around peaking optimally on the Sunday. And Ev, obviously we were trying to peak optimally on the Saturday. And I think that worked very, very well, because she looked outrageously good, and first time competitor again, special mention. Again, we met Ev in one of our workshops, and she probably wasn't in the best space in terms of the protocol and where she was at with her prep. But credit to her, we were able to salvage it, and she did a body of work, was relentless in her pursuit every single day to be better, followed everything to a T. And for a first timer to not only, win a division, but to take an overall and be offered a pro card. And I think you guys would probably agree, like her physique, she was probably the physique of the day, like stand out. In my eyes, without being biased, I just think she looked incredible from conditioning to fullness. So yeah, it was awesome to see.
And what about the approach with Ethan?
So because Ethan was competing on the Sunday, and we knew that he was obviously flying back Saturday night, the same flight as us, we ran him flatter going into that show, and we didn't push sodium, because obviously when you do push sodium, you can enhance the look. But obviously the byproduct of that is that you're going to get some recoil of some potential edema. And then you pair that with having to fly and then fatigue and also pushing a lot of carbs. And so he still presented very well on the Saturday, and it was, again, credit to Ethan. He took the overall, looked fantastic. But I think you boys would agree, even MG, the first thing you said to me when you saw him on Sunday was, Jesus, he looks different. The look from Saturday to Sunday was very, very different. And again, we were very conservative in our approach to still present something that was good on the Saturday. He looked great, and most people probably wouldn't have thought he looked out of place. But when you saw him on the Sunday, the deepness of the cuts in his legs, the vascularity, the fullness, everything was there. We just had to flick the switch, and so we did. And again, credit to him, he got his pro card on the Sunday.
Yeah, amazing. So those two competitors, they're still competing for the rest of the season?
They are, yep. So Ethan's next show will be ICN VICs, and Ev will do NBA Nationals and then ICN Nationals.
Yeah. And is there anything that you'll do differently for those two based on what you've been through with them in the last shows?
Yeah, for Ethan, we'll peak exactly the same as we did on Sunday, but it'll be a little bit different in that we won't have to stress / be as meticulous with every single little thing. It'll be a lot simpler for him, because we'll peak him to be great on the Saturday. And with Ev, her peak week will be different, because equally we were pushing conditioning right up to the line. And so we were going in a little bit more fatigued than I would have liked. But the reason we've chosen not to do ICN VICs is so that we have that extra week up our sleeve to make the refinements, so that come NBA peak week, we'll be washing off fatigue very early. And so again, her physique will be a lot better. But the protocol around how much carbohydrate she needs, when we push in sodium, at what times, everything will be rinse and repeat, because we got the response that we needed on both athletes. But equally with Ethan, I knew what I was going to get, because we trialed it a couple of times throughout his prep. With Ev, I was confident, but also the first time you run a trial, peaking intervention, you never really know. But equally, everything went beautifully. And she was, by all honesty, she was a bit fatigued going into that show. So I think a fresher and slightly more refined look, she'll be ready to rock come NBA.
Yeah. So on the Saturday in the Adelaide show, MG was the MC. He did an absolutely amazing job.
He was elite. By his favorite word, but he was elite. A lot of good feedback about him.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
And then I was backstage looking after everyone, making sure everyone was where they needed to be, getting on stage in the right order and things like that. So I got a chance to obviously spend some time with Aman and Everin and Ethan too. And like normal, like every competitor, especially first timers, they were all nervous. Every every single one of it. Actually, every single one of the day was pretty nervous. So anyone that's listening, if you're nervous side stage about to get on, completely normal, absolutely normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to obviously relax them the best I possibly could, but they all showed up as soon as they passed that curtain and walked onto the stage. Smile came on, and it was like they flicked a switch. So they did all absolutely amazing. It was great to spend some time with them. Aman's amazing. I think she had her family and her kids there too,
Yeah,
right?
she did. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
was so
was so
cute.
cool. It was so cool to see that. So she was really lovely, and everyone was in the zone too. So we had a really good space outdoor, backstage in the side of the stage. You could actually go outside in the sun. It was absolutely amazing. So um, it
Optimal
was
pump up conditions,
yeah,
wasn't it?
it was a chilled vibe there. It was a really chilled vibe. It went on like clockwork, so it was really good. Um, so something that you mentioned before we got on, Scotty, because we asked how you feeling,
Mhm.
and today is the last day before carb up, right? So tomorrow you start, right? And you said you pretty much feel your worst. And what's funny is I've had all my clients from last week, and even my client that this week is competing, and on the Wednesday, the day before the carb up, they all felt their absolute worst. And they're like, is this normal? I was like, yep, it's pretty damn normal to feel your absolute worst before food comes in. So I know maybe you want to comment on how you're feeling at the moment, but also have you found that with other clients recently that are going through their preps at the moment?
Yeah, so typically it's pretty common, especially if you're looking to deplete muscle glycogen and then replete equally. My food's gradually just been, my low day intakes have slowly been coming up the last probably 10 days. So just closing the gap, but it's more like still being flat. So I just finished my last not yesterday was probably the last hard session. I had legs, and I probably, by my own admission, probably hit them a little bit too hard. But equally, that won't matter come Sunday. But doing pull before, even things like I would have a pump, and then within 2-3 minutes, like it's just gone. So, and I can tell looking at myself, even though I was super vascular, but just there was no fullness. Like you just feel like just flat as an absolute tack. So I know that I have no muscle glycogen. If I think about it, I'm only pushing in on my low days 300 grams of carbohydrate. I know that that's probably gone by the time I finish my workout and I'm running low for the rest of it. Granted, when I'm pushing in some carbs later on, and there's not a lot because I typically have most of my carbohydrate before I train so that I can utilize that to have a good workout. Those carbohydrate stores and the muscle glycogen deplete. And then I'll typically run low other than protein until I have my dinner. I normally have a bit more carbohydrate before bed because it helps me sleep a bit better, even though my sleep's pretty horrendous. And so it is a normal perturbation at this stage of the contest prep if you are like truly conditioned, if you're pretty close to 100%, and that's where you need to be in order to be able to get that response. And so obviously the food will start going in tomorrow. And I think a lot of people do notice that, but equally it's part of, we speak about embracing the suck. A lot of people can be a bit flat and I think feel sorry for themselves. And that's something that other than telling you guys before we got on this that I'm feeling a bit average, you guys are the first person that I probably would have said that to anyone other than maybe Jen, anyone that asked. Even this morning, was said to me, you look like you got a bit more pep in your step. Have you carbon up today? And equally inside, every part of me, full transparency, is really hurting, but I'll never ever let anyone see it and I'll never display it. And I always just feel good because just I put it out there. I feel good. I'm telling myself that,
Yep.
and I refuse to lean into it. And so even tomorrow with a bit more food, it won't make a difference. I know I'm probably not going to start to feel fresher until probably Friday, where the training isn't as hard and some of that carbohydrate is starting to stick, and equally I can just relax a bit. So then normal perturbations of being at that stage of prep. So if you're a first-time competitor and you are peeled, it's normal to feel like that. But my advice would be just to know that fatigue will start to dissipate as the week unfolds, and don't lean into it. Even literally say it out loud. No, I feel really, really good. I feel good. I feel fresh. Even when you wake up, even if you feel like you want to burst into tears and cry, because a lot of athletes get very emotional. You just have to, again, remember your why, and obviously just take it one day at a time, take it one meal at a time, and just focus on the variables that are at your disposal, rather than just trying to fast forward and think too far, ahead. Even when people are like, oh, what's your carb up on Friday? And I'm like, I know it's written down somewhere off the top of my head. I'm just thinking about getting through today, and then I'll have a look tonight before I go to bed. My meal's already planned out, but that's what I'm having tomorrow. And then I'll worry about Friday the next day and Saturday the next day. So just compartmentalize it.
Yeah. Also, added on top of all of that is, if you're a first-time competitor, you're probably super nervous.
Mm-hmm.
You might be even a little bit overwhelmed, worried, don't think you're ready, all those kind of things. So there's all that added pressure to, the hard work is done. Just trust the process leading up into the show these last couple of days, or the last couple of days before your show, and just try to relax and just follow the plan, and just don't overthink anything, and just follow it, and you'll be perfectly fine. And on the show day, just try to relax as much as you possibly can. And it's hard. Like, all my first timers on the weekend were stressed and nervous, and you just got to try to be like, it's okay. It's, you'll get there. Just relax, get the first one done. And after the first division, they all felt absolutely amazing. They loved it. The rest of the day, they were so excited.
And my other advice would be to just stay off social media. I feel like so many people, when your lineups come out, when you get your email this weekend from ICN saying who's in your lineup, don't go and look up who's in your lineup on Instagram. So many of my athletes do it. Sometimes they're sending me photos of, have you seen this person? They look at my, I don't even respond anymore. And I actually have that conversation that if you send me dumb shit, I'm not going to respond to it, because I'm not going to entertain and engage it. Nothing positive can come from that. And you cannot control who you're going to go up against. You can't control how they're going to look. You could be phenomenal, but there's a freak of nature that just comes out of nowhere and steps on stage and just wipes the floor. And what can you do? And that's why it's like, if you know that you've done everything, you've been adherent, and you've given everything that you can, then you can be at peace with that and know that whatever the result is, at the end of the day, it's a subjective sport. I don't think you should let your success of a show be determined by what 3 or 4 people on a judging panel decide your physique's the best, your apples, oranges, like whatever. At the end of the day, if you've presented something that's better than you could ever have imagined, then for me, then that is success. Yes, winning is great, overalls and pro cards, all those things are great, but equally, just knowing that you could not have done any better, you can't ask for any more than that.
That's right.
So that would be probably my biggest takeaway. Don't go on social media. Someone asks who you're going up against. Don't know, just turn up.
Yeah.
And enjoy the moment.
Yeah. Good advice, really good advice. MG, let's go to you. So how many competitors did you have over the weekend, and any lessons learned, any things you might do differently next time?
Yeah, so I had James, who did really, really well. The thing with James as well, James is someone that I've known for a long, long time, and he's not really just one of my athletes, but within my inner circle of friends as well. So it's pretty special that it was his first show, and I typically don't have anyone do ANB, not because there's any association. It's more just I like to give a certain level of service on show day, make sure that you're there to support your athlete, and the feeling of having to run back and forth, running a show as big as we ran on Sunday, which was, record breaking for us, just didn't sit right with me. Equally, that discussion was had with James before, because James just had a newborn baby and done phenomenally well, carried himself like a champion, not heard a complaint once, to be honest. So we've been hanging out for a little while, when we're pretty keen to wrap the season up soon. So we decided we'd do that. And I obviously have a staffing team that work with me of coaches that coach for comp, and you guys were there too, right? And he's one of your friends as well. So we decided that we would do that show. Scott was obviously a big supporter with Cole, who works for me as well, as a set of eyes. The plan was already set, and I did my best to get back there as many times as I could. I think the lesson learned from James is we did start this prep a little bit earlier because we knew baby was coming. So we did want to get a little bit ahead of the game. So we have been lean for a while. And I think we probably underestimated a little bit just how much we were going to need on show day, and also how much sodium we probably needed to push in pre-stage as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think we maybe burn a little bit too much doing pump ups leading up to getting on stage, and maybe we utilize a little bit too much glycogen at that point. So we'll probably relax a little bit more this time around. Equally, I think from his point of view, not having me right there, if you're sitting down for a long time as a first timer, maybe you feel like you want to get up and pump some blood around, and maybe you don't necessarily need to. So I think, that played into it a little bit. But also when it's your first time, there's things that you just pick up. So I think, we're going again this week in Ballarat, which I'm very excited for.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, we're going to go again in Ballarat this weekend. So we'll just relax a lot more this week. We'll go a little bit harder with what we take in as well from a carbohydrate and a sodium perspective. And then James and I have had a good discussion as well, and we got some feedback from the judge just about addressing some of our poses. I think looking at him on stage, I think we'll bring a photo up when we do the show anyway, was the mass was there. He's a tall guy like me. So, I think he pretty much outmuscled anyone that's stood on the stage. To not try and feel like you have to force that width because the width is already there, is to just engage those muscles and stand up nice and tall rather than over squeeze and pull back maybe a little bit too much on the scapula. So we'll address some posing things. We'll put our hips in some different positions in different poses just to change the shape of the waist this week. But we learned a lot of lessons, and it was a great experience, and he did so well. And I got to hold his newborn in the crowd wearing one of our Optimum Nutrition little onesies.
Yes.
I was standing next to his partner and his sister and his brother, who were cheering for him when he was on stage holding his baby. Was like the biggest award I could win.
Yeah, amazing. It was so cute. Yeah, I'm so proud of him because, he's part of our inner circle too. And it was just great to see him there with a massive smile on his face with his family there, and him just doing so well because he placed really, really well too. So it's good that he's doing Ballarat because I'll be there and I can't wait to see him.
Yeah, man.
It'll be amazing.
And I appreciate Scotty's help. Scotty was a big help with just keeping an eye for him with Cole, just as I was kind of running around like a headless chook. Which, everything went off smoothly for the show. I know we're going to get into the show for a second, but it just makes a difference when you got a big support network around you that you can trust and rely on to have your back no matter what.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't know whether he told you, but I pushed in a lot more food late and sodium because he was still flat, but equally, and again, you're never going to say that in real time. It was probably a little bit too late. It needed to be in a little bit earlier, but equally, there are things like you just said, it's good learning curves because now, you can make that adjustment. And I dare say he has so many solid attributes. I think he'll be like top him up a little bit more, and then when he gets to that point about ready to burst, and like you said, you clean up some of that posing, he'll be in the conversation up there this weekend, man.
I think so too.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good attributes.
Yeah.
I'm excited for him.
Yeah, we'll bring him up on screen. We'll bring him up on screen in a bit. We're going to get into the show, which is exciting.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly chat about.
I was going to say, MT, don't forget, you had a very successful Sunday, bro.
Yeah, so I had the three. I had Alan in figure. So this is all on Sunday show. Alan in figure, Elise in sports fitness, and Romany in sports and fitness. I think my lesson learned with all three is they need a little bit more food than I planned for in their plan. So every day when I assessed their look during the carb up days and got all the data from them, I was like, no, we just need a little bit more today. And then the following day, okay, a little bit more again, because most of them were weighing a little bit too light for my liking. So I had to top them up more than I expected each day. And even on show day, I had to top them all up more than I expected and I had in the plan. And also a little bit more sodium, maybe a tab here and there, more than what I planned for. So, these are all things that you learn along the way. They all looked absolutely amazing. Like I'm happy with how they all looked. Obviously, they'll all continue to improve with more shows coming up in the season. They'll probably all get a little bit leaner, and lessons learned from how we peak them. Obviously, they should all get a little bit sharper too. But that's the biggest thing I found, is that I just needed to push them all a little bit harder. But granted, Alan, I hadn't peaked for 3 years, and the physique has changed a lot. And Rom and Elise, I've never peaked before, both first timers. So definitely lessons learned there from my end. And also too is, as we know as coach, but as an athlete, you should know too, you might have a plan and an approach that you go into peak week, but it can change every day. You know, you might get feedback from your coach and say, okay, 20 grams more carbs on that last meal and add in 10 grams of fat. And you should be able to, if you're not on a meal plan, you should be able to make that adjustment pretty quickly with some basic foods for when your coach does give you some feedback. So, and the same on show day too. Most people are going to have all those ingredients with them. If they need a little bit more honey or rice cakes or another salt tab or whatever that may be, to make those adjustments on the fly. So, it's always good on the show day. We like to see our athletes flat, in the morning when they're not pumped up. Then we like to pump them up a little bit, see them again. And then whilst they're actually pumping up for stage, we'll obviously assess the look. And if we think we need to do anything different, we will do so. Lessons learned there with those three. So there's some of the changes. And also too is I will reflect on that and also see who in the team maybe has a similar attributes to them and make sure that I translate what I've learned to my clients that haven't stepped on stage yet this season. And I'll learn and evolve as I go. So even though we've done this for a long time, you always learn. And it's good that you can actually reflect on things and see areas that you can definitely improve on. So there's some of the things that I did learn over the weekend. And just to keep them all calm and just not to stress out, we all did really well. Like, I expect that they're all going to be really, really nervous. It's nerve-wracking even for the best of us. I'm sure, Scotty, you might have a little bit of nerves before you step on stage too, even though you've done
I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
I still remember the last show, despite knowing you're ready, you start to get a bit of a dry mouth, your heart rate starts to increase, your adrenaline goes up. It's very, very normal. But equally, when you're having that moment, again, you have conversations with your head. One thing that I just tell myself, it's normal. Like, you've invested so much time, just relax, just breathe, like literally just saying that, and then just try and compose yourself. And as you said, as soon as you hit those first few shots, then you just feel great. I think one of the worst things you can do when you go out and you're really rushed and really rigid. So literally before you step out, literally just take a big breath, exhale, and then just go. And once you've done that and you squeeze and you hear the crowd roar and that, you'll just be in your element and you'll be good to go. But I think to just reinforce what you said, it's all about the first time you pick someone, we're just collecting data. And equally, you don't always get the luxury to be able to run trials. If I have to choose between making the extra refinement or running a trial peak week, I'd rather make the extra refinement and then peak, maybe be a bit more conservative, but at least that way, you can take some good data, and then the next time around, this is what we need to do. And I know this is a response we're going to get. That's why we do more than one show. And that's why the bigger shows that hold more weight, like nationals, are not at the start of the season. They're towards the end.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. And we all give them feedback on some posing and things they can do differently on stage, especially as first timers. So that's why we always say, like, try to do a couple of shows in the season, because you will get better as you go through the season too.
For sure.
All right, let's talk about the actual shows. So obviously we had Adelaide for ANB. We ran that. Actually, first, let's go back. Firstly, there was a lot of shows on the weekend across multiple federations in different states. And we can only really give appropriate feedback and review the ones that we were at. But I just want to say, in us boys, we were looking at social media over the weekend, and there was some amazing results and amazing athletes. So I just want to say congratulations for everyone that stepped on stage on the weekend. We saw some amazing athletes, and I'm sure it's just going to continue to improve, and everyone should be super proud of themselves no matter of their placing. Okay, so we had Adelaide first. We flew up Friday. We got down there. We started to get the venue ready. You guys coined me as the technical director because
Hey, you were all over it, wasn't
we
he?
had to set up the stage and the lighting, because they had done a bodybuilding show before, but a long time ago, and we had to kind of give the guy direction. So literally, we're getting Scotty to stand on stage with his top off and just directing him, just being like, okay, walk backwards, walk forwards, any black spots. Okay, chuck these lights on, turn these lights off, change the color of those, change the angle of these. And we just had to basically get the lighting right for the stage. And it ended up being great. Do you guys agree?
It was awesome.
Yeah. And then Friday night, we went back to the apartment. I won't get to Collingwood yet, MG, but we got some food. we went back, we had some dinner, and then we watched Collingwood win, which if anyone watched our stories, you could see that MG was super excited.
Oh, not as excited as Scotty was. Oof.
Scotty was just sitting there eating his dinner, just waiting to go to bed. Um, and then Friday night, we all had horrendous sleep, absolutely horrendous sleep. There was some music festival on down the road. There were people yelling and screaming on the street. There were loud cars and motorbikes. I didn't realize till about an hour.
Rest, just everything.
Yeah, there was sirens. I didn't realize till about an hour into MG and I shared a room, single beds. We wanted to push them together, but we didn't get a chance. But I was like, this noise is way too loud. It's literally in my ear. I'm trying to sleep. And about an hour in, I'm like, I'm going to check if the window's open. And the window was open. So as soon as I closed, I think we got a little bit more sleep. But we both woke up all three of us woke up about 5 a.m. Not a lot of sleep. And we had to be at the venue by 7 to keep setting up. We had the show there. And honestly, the overall winners for every division were of the highest quality. Like the bodybuilder was epic. The men's physique guy, he was absolutely epic. Obviously, men's fitness was Ethan. He's great. Obviously got his pro card the next day on the Sunday. We had Everin win overall fitness. Amazing. Got her pro card. We had
Kim won sports. She's amazing
won
too.
Sports. Absolutely amazing athlete. She looked amazing. And then we had D win bikini. She was a great athlete too. Is there any other divisions I missed out on? There was a classic guy. He looked great. He came back into men's physique and got second against an amazing athlete. Did he turn pro also?
Yeah, he did. The physique guy was unbelievable.
Billy, Big Bad Billy.
Bad Billy.
He was amazing.
He was awesome. He's a ICN. I was speaking to him and Benny Wortley backstage. He's a ICN pro as well, but phenomenal.
Okay. Not surprised. He looks
He looks awesome.
So even though first show we ran smaller in numbers, but amazing in quality. Absolutely amazing.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. MG was the MC. You're like a natural.
Man.
Like obviously you know bodybuilding, you know the calls, you know how the show runs, you know what needs to happen. But I think, the fact that we're such good friends and I was side stage and you were on the podium right at the side there, we didn't even have to talk. We just literally just looked at each other and we knew exactly what was going on and everything was ready and it went like clockwork. Absolute clockwork.
Oh man, like there was moments where, I'd say something, I'd turn around and you were just doing your thing and gave me a look. And I just had to say to myself, like, I can't believe that, we're doing this with my best mates. It just felt so surreal. And I know we've been doing it for a long time, but we haven't run a show together before. Mm-hmm. So for the three of us, there was definitely some like pretty special moments. But you and I were just able to communicate like mentally, man, like just look at each other and be like, yeah, we know what we've got to do next. So it was an awesome feeling, man. And the first of many, no doubt.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then, so the show wrapped up, went back to the airport, went back to the lounge. We were there for a couple of hours. I think we all literally just wanted to crawl into a ball and sleep on the floor because we were all absolutely buggered. And then home, bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock, whatever that may be, and then up the next morning at the next show, Sunday. I don't know what time did you get there, MG?
Just before 6:45.
Jesus, I got there at like 8:30.
Yeah, so when I got home at 10 o'clock because I had to go back to Scotty's house. My car was there, and then I drove home. So I got home at 10, and then there were a heap of stuff I wanted to put in the car just to get ready. So I reckon I got to bed at 11:30.
Wow.
And was up pretty much just after 4, man. So
that's ridiculous.
So, I mean, it's not ideal, I know, but it just had to be done. I wanted to get there early. Big shout out to TMG if he's listening. Who actually is one of Scotty's athletes, but just one of the great guys of the industry. We've probably spoken about him before. He was kind of my side man and just like helped me logistically organize everything on the day, from literally fixing tubs of leaking monster to I ran out of judges' sheets, got me another 100 printed from the staff down. Like was just a weapon. It just shows one person can change everything for you.
Yeah.
And obviously Meave was there to help support me and the rest of the crew, and you came nice and early as well. So it was an epic morning. I had a moment when I did the athletes briefing, which was about 20 past 8, once everyone had gotten their numbers, where I think I was addressing about 65 athletes in the pump up area. And then I brought them all onto the stage to kind of talk about how the T-walk was going to run and, you know, what everyone's requirements were and answer any questions. And the stage was just full at that point. There was no one in the audience yet. And I kind of just had a moment of like, I felt like, you know, years of hard work kind of came to a point right there and then. It's like, you know, years of trying to build this up to this point had all kind of happened. And then we started the day with, you know, 7-figure athletes, which, you know, may not sound like a lot, but for anyone who's been in the natty scene for years knows that 7-figure to start the day is a big start to the day. Typically we figure, you know, if you get between 2 and 4, that's pretty standard across a lot of lineups. But starting with 7, we had not a seat in the house available from the first division. And it just steamrolled from there to a point where I don't know whether it was just before the end of show 1 or when Ethan was on stage for show 2, where every seat was taken. I think there was about 100 standing behind the last row and about 100 on the side in, you know, where the sponsors and stuff were. And it was just absolutely phenomenal.
Are you happy to share the spectator number? Because you know it, right?
Yeah. So we have 700 spectators.
That's
crazy, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
that's amazing. You know, which obviously smashes our previous record, but athlete numbers were double as well, but it was more than double. So it's a pretty big jump in a short amount of time when you think that, you know, the last season was, you know, only less than half a year ago. To make those kind of changes is just a sign of, you know, I'll just say where the industry is at, like how big natural bodybuilding is, especially in Victoria, how much potential natural bodybuilding's got and how it is still absolutely alive and well.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously a big show, but quality too, like amazing lineups, competitive lineups. Yeah, good luck to the judges. Like it was difficult. I looked at some, I was like, it was some of them were like hard. I was like, oh, okay, they could go for this person, they could go for that person. But I think, you know, we'll go through the decisions in a second, but no, there was nothing that I disagreed with.
I got a lot of DMs just over the past few days from coaches who were in attendance who had nothing but praise for the show, the way it was run, everything on time, the professionalism of it, the excitement, the hype, you know, the DJ, the MC, the way athletes had their own time, but also that all the decisions were pretty much in line with everything that they had also picked, which is so great to hear. Yeah.
All right, let's jump into it. I'm going to share my screen for those that are on Spotify. You can actually look at the video too. Let's look at this bad boy. So we're lucky enough to get some of the photos. So let's go to
figure
first. Now, hopefully, let's see if.
I did get had to put a big ask on the photographer just to get me the opens and overalls for these. So these are some pretty elite shots to do comparisons on.
I'm going to see because at the moment you guys can't see that photo.
No, it's just on the just on the folder. So
okay, how's that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome.
That's Scotty.
Yeah, it's an awesome shot. So I don't know, boys. Did anyone watch this? Do you know who ended up taking out the overall in this?
Yeah. So Matthew in the middle, 112 in the green trunks was the overall.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Which absolute legend, and credit to him, presented straight after coming off stage to do his drug test. Actually came up and found me. He's like, please do my drug test. Like, you know, really wanted to say, took the overall. Here's my result. So good on him. But that lineup, you know, a full lineup there of guys who all look like they belong on that stage. That top 3 was awesome, and all had, you know, great characteristics. The guy on the left of the overall winning, he's a great athlete and a real true hard competitor. Great physique. Was at the posing workshops, if you remember, MT.
Oh my God, is that him?
Yeah,
he looks amazing.
He looks awesome. Yeah. So. And also I think third place, which was 108 on the right, another really, really good competitor. Oh, that photo doesn't even do him justice.
So the guy next to the overall winner, the one on the white and the black?
Yeah, so we'll say that was kind of your top 3 there.
Yeah.
You know, if I had to sort of pick it out, I mean, first place Matthew just kind of ticked all the boxes, was just sharp all the way through. Didn't miss a beat. If you look at his legs, you know, clearly the most detail in that shot. And I know, guys, this is only one shot, but we're just going to sort of, go with what we've got. The most density, if you look, the thickness through the tricep versus, second and third, who are all obviously incredible physiques. And that detail through the midsection was just spot on. But he was the full package. Look at that. There you go. That puts into perspective those legs. Have a look at those legs on the winner.
Yeah, just zoomed in. Yeah.
Yeah, great. But yeah, some just phenomenal athletes. All of those guys looked elite. The guy on the far left, who's Benny Hightongue's client, who I spoke to him at the end, kind of just did this over about 10 or 11 weeks, but had the most amount of mass on stage.
Yeah.
Kind of came up, spoke to him at the end. He's like, look, I absolutely love that. I'm going to take the next one way more seriously. I'll be back next year to present something way better. So, from a mass perspective, he was definitely up there, but all top competitors. Lockie on the right, who is one of the guys from Nutrition Warehouse, came from far to get that package and presented something very, very incredible there. He should be so proud of himself and a good bloke too. So a nice start to bodybuilding with the Open. There's a few guys that aren't in that because they didn't do the Open, but that's kind of the top there.
Let's go to Classic. Just bring it up. So I've got 2 Classic photos.
Let's have a look.
See what I've got.
I think you want there's one that doesn't have some of the competitors, so just check. It's the one with the bigger lineup.
Yeah. Just going to bring up this photo.
Yep, so that's not the one that we want. We want the other one.
Okay. He was the overall winner though, right?
He was, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. I've got the photo. It's not a very good one though. Everyone's just standing relaxed.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah. So let's just go with
just as a comparison. So we'll talk. The guy in the middle obviously is the overall winner, which is I think one of Jake's guys.
Yeah.
Man, just the size of the man. He's probably my height. Really, really big frame, dense through the shoulders, the chest, but such a nice, perfectly symmetrical midsection. And for ANB Classic, the sharpness was probably on point, knowing that they don't really want you razor sharp versus bodybuilding in ANB. There is quite a specific difference. Maybe if he was looking at a different fed that, if he tightened his legs up a little bit more, then it'd be pretty much unstoppable. But he's just so big in the legs and so big in the shoulder, and goes down to a completely different shape with the waist. But you can see if you zoom in there, see how he leans into that left leg, that right hip bone, which he has to sort of create the illusion of not being blocky through that waist because he's such a big specimen.
Yeah.
But most mass, right on condition for where ANB like Classic, and just towered everyone on stage. Great physique, good posing too, really great posing.
Yeah. Also, the guy that came second to him in the overall, because there was 2 guys in the overall, was him and another guy.
Yeah.
Very close. I think the taller guy here just had a little bit more balance, and maybe it was.
So that was a Vash who was Tommy Rodriguez and Matty Orchard's guy.
Yeah.
Another, maybe a little more classic looking in.
Yes.
In the aesthetic of the look, big quads, probably more symmetrical overall.
Yeah.
But next to that guy just needed a little bit more size, I suppose. His legs were really dominant, and then just, could do with maybe a little bit more tissue on the upper. But he's got a beautiful physique as well, and really nice posing too.
Yeah. We're gonna continue with the guys. So let's go to men's fitness. And I'll bring up this photo. I'll just see if I can get it shared.
Scotty and I will talk about this one, but what a lineup that men's, those first 2, I'll tell you what. So Thanon, who is the guy who took the overall there in the middle, and Ethan, who obviously came second, but also took the pro card. And I think if you were going to say what would a standard in this state be for men's fitness, both of those 2 could easily represent what the standard is in terms of level of muscularity, symmetry, aesthetics, posing, both of them were incredible posers, but like legs, detailed, and for me, they both tick the box perfectly for what a fitness competitor should look like. Credit to obviously Thanon, who is there in the middle, a really humble competitor as well, and
Yeah, nice kid.
yeah, really, really nice guy, but a really, really nice presentation of a fitness physique there.
Anything on this, Scotty?
Yeah, no, his upper body was phenomenal. He definitely, in the side shots, I thought Ethan, like it's a shame you don't have one of them both standing front on, because do you have any of the front where they're just, nah.
Oh, there will be, but not at the moment.
Yeah.
I think, the mastery Ethan's, leg, if you look at that side shot, if they were both standing side on, Ethan would probably look the bigger athlete there.
Yeah, but it's just the thickness and the density and like his chest, he had Ethan covered for that. Pretty even with the shoulders and the arms, but that was the biggest thing, even through the abdominals, like just those thick muscle bellies.
Yeah.
And when someone's carved up and they're under those bright lights, like it just stood out that he was just bigger from the top half. Equally, a few years probably older. I think Ethan's wheels were definitely better, but equally his upper body and his abs were good enough to pip him. But as you said, MG, I mean, they're both pretty high caliber competitors and both very deserving. I think it'll be good for them to battle again at DFAC.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it. Absolutely looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Do
incredible.
you know any other shows that he's doing? The overall winner?
Just at this point, I think
New South Wales, he said to me he was going to do that.
he's definitely coming to the November 12th, but
He said he was going to do ANB New South Wales.
yeah, cool. Well, he'll have to do the pro show. He can't. He'll have to do the pro show for Worlds.
Yeah, for Worlds he will, but I think until he actually signs and accepts it, he does. I don't know.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he will make his focus the Worlds pro show.
I would too. Yeah, for sure.
All right, brought up men's physique. Do you want to go through this, MG?
Yeah, yep. So the overall winner was the far right.
Yeah.
So if on a Zoom you can see just like really, really nice shape, big chest, small waist. You can see his lats from the front shot, nice round bubbly shoulders, and just nice and symmetrical. Tiny waist, I think, is the big giveaway there. And I think if you were to go, the guy 151 next to James was in that second position.
Yeah.
Again, really nice physique there. Good V taper. I think maybe a tiny bit sharper and would have pushed the other guy because probably looks to be a little more muscled. But again, a really nice presentation of a physique. And then obviously James in third, who was 150, who, the height, the mass, look at the shoulders, the chest. We just need to potentially fix a little bit of posing. And I think the thing that's going to help James the most is this leg here, that leg that is his right. He needs to drop that knee and lean into it a little bit more and then rotate around, which will just give the illusion that the waist is actually a little bit smaller. So less front on and more like the guy on the far right, how he's dropping that knee and rotating around a little more. That'll definitely help his posing. Just so people know, the gentleman next to 151 is 56 years old or 57. First competition, always wanted to do it, lost a ton of weight to get there. So
good on him.
And he was just very, very proud of himself. A big credit to him for jumping on stage with the guys. But yeah, there's a couple of other competitors that aren't in that lineup that were in other divisions, but the sort of the top three are there anyway.
Yeah. Right, let's bring up. Let's go into figure. Now I've got two photos. Let's see which one's the best one to bring up.
Again, just want to say big shout out to the figure girls. Amazing quality across the board. Some seriously great physiques there. And the happiest thing for me, I touched on this before, having gone to so many shows over the years and knowing that figure's typically one of the earlier divisions, for those ladies to have a full house from the moment they stepped on stage was something I was super, super proud of and so happy for them because, they are some of the hardest workers. A lot of them have been in the sport for a long time too and have been, building up these physiques for years and years. That's probably not a good shot. Doesn't really show off the physiques. Is there another one?
Yeah.
That's the only one?
That's the only one, yeah.
So Yeah, the winner's obviously 104. So Steph there, who's an incredible athlete. Again, that shot just doesn't do her justice. She's got a killer physique. She looks amazing there, but in a pose, you can just see. But just one on muscularity, conditioning, best legs, best quads. Back and shoulders were right up there. And I think it was Sim in second in the red who did the routine, who did an amazing job on that routine, if anyone got the chance to see it, who was in second place. Incredible conditioning when she's posing. Probably just didn't quite have the size that Steph had, and it's probably what held her back from taking the title from her. But Steph's got an incredible physique, and she definitely was the deserving winner on the day.
Yeah. All right, let's.
And just, I think the competitor in the blue bikini, Claire, who's a big supporter of our show and a great athlete.
Yes.
Who just continues to get better and better every time she steps on stage. She's a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah. I believe maybe this one in the red, competitor 155. I think she got third.
Second or third. Yeah. She was great too. Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
I'm sorry that's the shot.
It's not a good shot, but it's the only one we got at the moment.
Apologies.
All right, and let's keep going. So let's move into women's fitness. All right, the problem with this is going to be that the winner is not in this photo because this is the Open.
Yes. Yeah, and Romany wasn't in this photo.
Romany wasn't in the actual Open. She won her other divisions and then went into the overall. But we can have a look at this. So I know from the Open perspective, I believe.
Yeah. So Holly came second, 125. Yeah. Now she's another incredible athlete. Conditioning was absolutely on point. Was hard as nails.
Yeah.
You can see their quad separation, big strong shoulders, nice lat spread, hard abs. I mean, Holly with like a couple more kilos of tissue is going to be so hard to stand next to. So like, she obviously looks incredible already. And as I said, another off season, a couple more kilos of tissue, just evenly spread across her overall frame, because it's not like, if you can see in that shot, she's lagging anywhere, just a little bit more overall density, and she's going to be a contender for many, many, many years to come. Congratulations to her and her coach on bringing a great physique. Now, I think 126, who's on the right, another great physique you can see in that photo, was the sports overall winner.
Yeah, Morrell. Yeah.
Yep. Nice and round, nice and bubbly muscles, not quite as hard as, say, Holly on the left, but perfectly conditioned for the sports division, and it looked incredible. And then on the left of Holly, you've got Cinnamon, who also did really, really well in sports, who probably just needed to come in a little harder for fitness. The upper body was spot on, but the lower body just needed to come in a little bit more. And would have been a contender in fitness too, but did really, really well in sports as well. So, and I think the girl who is 2 from the left also won a lot of her sports divisions as well. Great physique there, great shape. But you can see how perfect and round that is for sports. And I think she's with Martin, one of Martin's clients. So
this is Hope. Yeah, she's a great.
She was a great athlete. They did a great job. But you can see there, just great quality. Great quality, plenty of muscle, plenty of density through the quads, through the legs, lots of big shoulders on stage there. And all those girls absolutely look like, they could compete in that fitness lineup. I think the girl next to Cinnamon on the left of her, has the muscularity, and had have come in a little bit tighter, might be one of Michael's clients, would 100% have stood up in that lineup. And I think I spoke to Michael on the day that potentially could have put her in sports maybe where she would have stood in a much better position from a conditioning standpoint. But that's what we do as coaches, right? We do what we think's right leading up to the prep, and then you just don't know who's going to show up on the day. But another amazing physique there, plenty of muscle tissue, probably just needed to be a little bit leaner.
Yeah. I'll bring up a pic of Rom.
Then the winner.
She won that.
So if to give feedback, just because it is your athlete, and I did see this division, I was watching the whole thing, as to say why a Rom probably took it over Holly, was just more muscularity in most of the shots that just put her above. Both of them were absolutely contenders, and no doubt it would have been very difficult for the judges, but just had a little bit more muscle from the side, and then also in the back shot, more density through the back. And the glute to hamstring tie-in was just a little bit sharper as well.
Yeah. not a great shot of Ron, but this is. Can you guys see that one? Yeah.
I think what you can see in that shot is if you just look at the glute and the line in the hamstring, is you could imagine how good that translated to when she went into her back pose.
Yeah.
The glute to hamstring tying was just a lot sharper, a lot more pronounced, but there was a little bit more density through the mid to upper back as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think just a good balance of all.
But the top two, both her and Holly, incredible packages.
Yeah. It was just
she has a fantastic. I saw you warming and picking up, getting her pumped up backstage, and she looks awesome. Especially for her first time, a fantastic physique.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to. Let's go sports while we're kind of talking a little bit about the same competitors, because the fitness girls also could go into sports. So let's bring that up.
I think the one thing, and I'll give credit to the ANB judges for this, there was clear difference between who they were rewarding between sports and fitness.
Yeah. So this is the only photo I got, but it's basically got the overall winner, and then I believe Holly might have came.
What a great shot of Holly that is as well, by the way.
It's a good shot, yeah.
Yeah. But you can see there the winner, big shoulders, just wider width. If you look at the outer head of the medial delt, just wider, and a little less condition through the leg than Holly, but right on the money for where that division's at.
Yeah. Actually, I spoke to
who coaches that athlete.
I'm not too sure actually, but she did come up to me at the start of the day, and she said some really, really nice words about us three and about the podcast. And yeah, she was really lovely, and this was her first show.
Oh, great physique.
She went out in fitness, and I saw her, and I was like, wow, she looks absolutely amazing. So I'll make sure I went backstage. And I said to her, I was like, you look crazy good. You look absolutely amazing. You should be really, really happy. Hopefully you're doing sports.
Yeah.
And then she went into sports and she took it all out. So
yeah.
As you said, MG, like the right balance of conditioning, muscularity, and roundness for that division.
Yeah.
And you can see there, like, so sports competitor wins overall, but places, was it third in fitness? Yeah. So the judges made the right decision there for sure. Okay, so let's get on to bikini.
Yeah, the biggest lineup of the day. I think
the open.
I think there was 14 in total. I think this lineup was 12 or 13. I think this is not all athletes, but still, great shot.
Yeah, this is
great shot.
Great shot. So overall winner in the dead center there in the middle.
Yeah, I think. If you are going to make like a comparison between the girls, so Maddie in the green was probably the second in that.
She was second, yeah.
Yeah, great physique. I think where she might have, been pipped, and this was definitely another one of the tough ones because both of those athletes were fantastic. Was just the muscle maturity of the winner, the density, the way the muscle looked up at the skin a lot closer, and if you just look at the delt, I think probably the delt was what pipped her, and also just how much more, if you look at the quad, right, look at, say, the quad on green and then the quad here, because of the ratio, it makes the glute look a lot rounder.
Yes.
And also, if you go a little bit higher, she's just got a little more thickness through the shoulder. So they were probably the 2 points. But both of those physiques were absolutely phenomenal. In fact, a lot of the physiques on stage
117 place.
What's that?
The girl on the end, she looks...
She won she won the swimsuit.
She won swimsuit.
She also won one of her bikini divisions too. So she was in that top conversation as well.
Yeah.
And then like just going down the line. So can you open that up a little more?
There you go.
So like, again, credit, the last one in the end there is actually one of my athletes' mums. She's amazing, Tracy. She's mid-50s and can get hard as nails, can get absolutely hard as nails, and would typically be like ICN fitness or sports, more ICN fitness. So I think her and Amanda, who actually Scott, you coach, who is her coach, kind of just pulled the reins in a little bit to present something that was more relevant for bikini, but did really well, placed in swimsuit as well, and placed in one of her bikini divisions. 145. If anyone's wondering, because I know sometimes from the crowd, it's like, well, 145, she looks absolutely like she's amazing. She's an incredible athlete, super, super hard worker. And you can see that insane physique. I think on the day she was just so sharp. Seeing her, I think the judges could see in some poses, all 6 abs were like absolutely visible, and in her back shot was just razor sharp. Now, we do typically like, a little harder in ANB, but she was like razor sharp. Credit to her. Amazing physique, and she's a hard worker. And she'll do well as the season progresses, no doubt. She'll have a big season. Liv next did well, I think, came second in one of her divisions as well. And the next girl also placed 2 in some of hers. But yeah, the overall winner there with the blonde hair, and I think just the overall package of symmetry, the amount of glute pop, the hardness through the oblique, and the shoulders were all on point. And I think that athlete is competed in the over 35s. So I think that actually played to her advantage on the day. I think that muscle maturity just might have tipped her over the line.
Yeah. So this is Sophia in the purple. She got 3rd, I believe.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Great proportions. You can see there, like shoulder width, nice taper into the waist, and good development through the lower. But you can see the judge's decision, right? So as you said, MG, just a little bit more muscularity on first place, and also good balance from the glutes to the quads.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why that she did take that out. But the conditioning on the top 2 were great, absolutely amazing. Yeah. Great lineup. Really good. And I'm sure most of these girls are going to be up against each other again.
If any of the girls are listening, keep going, because no doubt you're going to continue to have a really, really great season.
Yeah. Awesome. There we go. Got it all done.
Lots of fun. Yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who came and supported the show, from people helping out, some of the athletes that I coach, and even MT coaches that came and just volunteered their time to be helpers on the day. Our medal presenters, Ash, Chloe, Kiara, and obviously, TMG as well was absolutely incredible. And then Lisa, my side stage helper, who everyone said was absolutely phenomenal in making sure that people were where they needed to be when they needed to be there.
Yeah.
It was an absolutely incredible day. And it was definitely a moment for me where I felt like I was, as happy as I could be.
Yeah. No, it was credit. It was absolutely amazing day. Great show, great competitors. Makes me excited for the rest of the season, because I know most of them are going to continue to compete and be up against each other. So I'm looking forward to it.
And man, talk about like the complete opposite for me this weekend. Obviously going to Ballarat, I've got 7 athletes competing. So it's like from promoter to coaching. I spoke to Tony this morning, ICN Tony, who's a friend of mine, and told him that I'm taking all of my team to his show. So he was happy. He was happy. Yeah, he was a good man.
I just want to say one thing before we go. Appreciate everyone that came up to us and had really, really kind words to say. Thank you so much. Also, apologies to anyone that we didn't recognize, we walked past. I know there's multiple people I walked past, and I had to go back and be like, I think I just walked past you, just want to say hello, because some of them we've seen, when they've been in prep and they've been backstage at their own shows, and they look completely different to now being in the off season. So I know I walked past a couple of people and apologized. And also anyone that was there competing that we didn't recognize, because I don't even recognize some of my own athletes because they're all dolled up with tan and hair, makeup done. I do sometimes walk past them. So apologies, but just come and tap us on the shoulder, trip us over or something, get our attention if you want to come and say hello. We're more than happy to have a little bit of a chat. But before we wrap it up, obviously, Scotty, your show this weekend coming up. Just really want to wish you all the best, mate. And we can't wait to hear how it all goes. Please keep us posted. And I'm looking forward to it for the first one.
Yeah. And I think Scott, like on behalf of like everyone, I think if anyone can take a leaf out of your book in terms of the way that you conduct yourself as an athlete, not only as a business owner, but as a father to two children, 2 young children and a husband. And I've been, me and MT have been by your side from day one of this journey. And there's not one instance that I could actually remember, if I tried hard to, where I could tell that you were in the depths of it. the way that you've conducted yourself. And we've done a lot. We've traveled 10 times. We've run shows. We've logistically organized things. We've had things go wrong. We've had to troubleshoot big problems. We're setting up, the retreat business. We've obviously got everything that's been going on with ANB. You've got Powerhouse. And so you're doing more than most people I know. And not once have you ever let on that, you are in any way, shape or form suffering or feeling like, you need people to check in on you. So I just want to say congratulations on that, regardless of the result. And we know that, you're always going to be a high achiever. You should be just so proud of yourself for the way that you conduct yourself as a human being. You're certainly an inspiration to me and MT and have been always, and that'll continue. But, when I'm having a shit day sometimes, bro, I think about the way that you conduct yourself, and that forces me to just take myself up another level. So we want to say thank you for that.
Thank you, bro. That coming from you and from MT, that means a lot, man. I really, really appreciate it. So thanks, guys. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll obviously be keeping you guys updated and you're a peek of the look. And I think you're going to come over for a coffee on Friday, aren't you? And you'll be able to
definitely. Yeah.
See where we're at. But no, I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate all your support, and equally all the best for you guys this weekend. I'm equally just as keen to hear how it goes. And looking forward to a big day the week after on the Saturday. Will you be there on the Saturday for ICN?
Yep.
MT? I know MG, you'll be there.
For ICN VIX or
Because it's
for the Saturday, for the boys
Saturday,
show,
though, aren't they?
yeah, I'm going to come.
You're going to come. Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
I've got a hand. I've got 5, so you can give me a hand.
If you boys are there, I'm there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Done. All right,
Boys.
Take care, and we'll chat
All right, boys.
soon.
Chat soon.
Enjoy your Thank you.
Thanks, guys.